and welcome to the ASD Files, the show where we have a look and chat about a Tranquillian and its autistic habits. In this, we're going to leave pretty much no stone unturned as we delve deep into a profile of one of the Tranquillians. We'll be discussing their preference topics, their preference items, their sensory issues, their stimulants, their syndromes, their conditions, their phobias, their personas, and their best friends, hobbies, brands, likes, dislikes, everything is going to be disclosed here. You will feel like you know the Tranquillian by the end of this. I'm pretty sure. Let's get down to this cool episode of the ASD Files. There's nothing to be ashamed of. This here is Rabideuis the Rabideuis. Yes, believe it or not, that is actually the name of her breed. Rabideuis resembles a small blue and white wolf pup with red eyes. She does have Rabideuis syndrome and Tranquillian syndrome, but we'll get into more details about her syndromes later. Rabideuis likes to play with her friends and loves looking after her stag, cooing Bambi. She could be a bit nervy of storms and bad weather. Some might even say she has a slight phobia of it. And with Rabideuis syndrome, she does also have a slight hydrophobia as well. Her hobbies include playing with her friends and writing and performing songs for the band that she is in, the Outcasts. You will have heard several of their tracks on this channel, I'm pretty sure. They're a really awesome band that have a really unique thing about them, that they have basically the whole chorus in Latin and then translated to English, meaning each song has a double barrel chorus that sounds frightfully powerful and emotional. Her best friends include Hardcore, a black foe with red eyes, who is actually a sort of reformed dystopian foe. Well, reform's actually the wrong word. Because she was Tranquillian, she never was bad. But some call her a reformed foe because she was originally from the darker part, the dystopian lands. But she can't help where she was born. She's actually a Tranquillian that you could say was born in the wrong place. And due to that, she too was misunderstood and rejected. Rabideuis has been through this as well, this hardship. And due to that, these two named themselves the Outcasts and swore that they would basically look after each other no matter what. But to be fair on Tranquillians are one big happy family. They accept each other and love each other for who they are. And there's no exceptions with Tranquillians. So Rabideuis certainly is a very interesting wolf pup. She is very caring, very loving. She speaks she's the maximum age for a Tranquillian, 3.5. That is the maximum age you can be for a Tranquillian, because after that, your age freezes. You're not allowed to go past infancy with Tranquillian. You never reach teenager, and you certainly never reach adult. Meaning that those things that you have to worry about at those ages, well, Tranquillians don't have to worry about them. They are free and young forever, to play as long as they like, where they like, protected by them protective magic, to allow them to live happy lives, or as happy as they can be when you've got Rabideuis syndrome. It does make your life slightly more emotional. Now we're going to go into her ASD habits. Preference topics for Rabideuis definitely include the Aurora Industries Tranquillian sanctuary that I built. I do understand that Rabideuis is quite often the first to tell her friends about new features that appear in the sanctuary, say when they're uploaded to the website or told in the Aurora forum. Basically, we've got these exciting new features coming. Rabideuis will then go into great detail of research about these features and then blab them to the world, you could say. This is often her conversation starter, is, have you heard about this latest feature to Aurora Industries? Especially if you're in Aurora Industries at the time, it makes her seem quite casual. But it's actually one of her preference topics. She's very into the Aurora Industries sanctuary. It's actually said she has actually got a secret preference topic of animal welfare as well. Not everyone knows this one about Rabideuis. Basically meaning she never wants to see any of the animals sad, and Tranquillians are like that anyway because they're very, very sensitive beings. But Rabideuis apparently will actually know how to care for sick Tranquillians if they fall ill, and will even be able to go as far as to be able to get the doctor for them if she feels, they're not right at all, if she detects they're absolutely not right. So this is one that not everyone knows about Rabideuis. She does look into animal welfare, and knows how to care for all sorts of different animals, and make them feel at home. Some would say she's into Tranquillian welfare as well. So they fall underneath those two preference topics. If she had a third one, I'd say it would have to be music. Music's definitely a big part of Rabideuis. She's very into conveying her emotions. And she also learned to speak Latin so that she could make the songs extra majestic. Tranquillians can actually learn to speak Latin, even though you would think teaching an infant Latin would be extremely hard. I'm not saying it doesn't take time, but Rabideuis certainly has been very hard at it, despite the fact that her nationality is actually Icelandic. Okay, so now we're going to go on to preference items. Preference items for Rabideuis has to be, I'd say Kawimbabi as a preference item, because she is never without that stag. She really isn't. Her and Cooin go absolutely everywhere together. So some would argue he's actually a preference item, even though I don't know if Cooin would be too sure about being referred to as a preference item. Rabideuis, I do understand, has some plushes that she's got particular fondness of. You don't see these very often. But the ASD version of Magrathias has definitely reported seeing her of those, and he's very into them as well. So sometimes they play games together and stuff. Okay, so what sensory issues has Rabideuis got from being autistic? She's going to have sensory issues. Okay, well, first one I would say is definitely mild hydrophobia. Rabideuis will make a bit of a fuss if she falls in the water, let me just say. She can certainly scream a bit and, try and paddle herself out of the water as soon as possible. It is quite natural to those creatures with Rabideuis syndrome. They all have mild hydrophobia. Persona probably has slightly more hydrophobia than Rabideuis. It's quite surprising how much Persona has. But then Persona is slightly more quote-unquote rabid, as we call it for an animal that has Rabideuis. We actually do use the same term as rabies, since the syndromes are quite similar. The only thing is you can't catch Rabideuis syndrome, and it's not exactly the same as rabies. It's like a very mild version. You don't lose your sanity with it. Okay, so that's pretty much one of her only sensory issues that I know of. The only other one I know of is that she is prone to hay fever. If she sits in a flowery glade, Rabideuis can start sneezing quite a lot. I don't know if you would account that to being an autistic sensory issue or not. I don't know how she is with touching flowers, if she likes the feel of flowers. You don't see Rabideuis, like Swan Lake, picking many flowers. Swan picks a lot of flowers. She's very into sniffing them and that. She likes the scent, so I would say that was one of her sensory items. Now, is there any sensory things that she does like? Well, she likes the feel of grass. She once mentioned she likes the feel of grass. She also, a bit like forestry lover, likes the feel of the bark of a tree. Therefore, in rare cases, Rabideuis, like forestry, will hug trees. But she prefers to hug her friends. She says she loves the sensory of a warm animal's fur against her. That's her favourite one. So that's why she often hugs her friends, as well as the fact she just loves them. Okay, so her stimulants are next. Now, Rabideuis has some odd stimulating habits. I'm not going to lie. One of them is Rabideuis, sometimes when she's talking to you and she gets quite excited, she'll sort of get more hyper in her speech. And just for a split second, she'll actually go quite loud. And quite often, she'll get stuck on saying a short word, like, yeah. Or something like that. She'll be like, yeah. And her tail goes really fast when she's, so that's an idea of one of her stimulants. Another one that's slightly odd as well is when she's lying down in the grass, she'll basically nose butt her own chest. It's quite quick, I'm not going to lie. But it's actually said that is one of her stimulants. She'll nose butt her own chest. So she'll basically put her head down and hit herself in the torso with her own nose. And she's got quite a flexible neck. She often does that one more when she's stressed. Another one that she does when she's stressed is that she has been known in rare cases to bang her head on the ground. It's a rare one, that one. Rabideuis' stimulants don't always mean self-harm, but when she's stressed, she can go a little bit towards it. Which is why we must make sure she's never stressed out too often. So it shows that Rabideuis that's probably because of her syndrome as well. Her syndrome corrupts her emotions so much, she probably doesn't know what to feel, and then she just bangs her head on the ground because she doesn't know what else to do. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is syndromes. Rabideuis syndrome and Tranquillian are the two syndromes present in Rabideuis. Rabideuis has both Tranquillian and they used to think she has euphonic syndrome. Rabideuis doesn't actually test positive for euphonic syndrome. And I think you'll agree, Rabideuis isn't that shy. She can act a bit sort of cute and shy every now and again, but just not shy enough to be euphonic. That's a whole other level of shyness. If you want to know more about that, you can check out my syndromes video. Phobias. Rabideuis' main phobias are storms and water. They're her two main phobias that can really frighten her. I'm going to just go back to stimulants for a little bit because I forgot her third stimulant. Her third one is that she'll make almost like a zebra-like noise. This is more an excited stimulant, this one. It stimulates when she's excited. She's like playing like a hyperactive game or something. She'll sit down and she'll sort of make like a half howl, half zebra noise at a very high pitch. Sometimes I've actually noticed Rabideuis covers her own ears while she's making it. She can't stand her own sound. So, Rabideuis' persona will now go on to next. She is just caring and loving, and she's the best little wolf pup you could have. I'm going to be quite fair on that. She maybe has her emotional troubles, she maybe has her slightly weird stimulants, but in the end, she is so loving and caring back to you. She'll do anything for her friends. That's in her capability. She'll basically do anything for them that she can. I actually think that if the push came to shove, she could be as brave as Ethereal and actually face her hydrophobia if one of her friends was in danger. Ethereal is famous for doing that. Because Ethereal is extremely hydrophobic and he actually jumped in the water to save his friends twice. I think Rabideuis would do the same. If she was wrapped up enough, she would overcome her phobia. I mean, she has done already once. Bambi was rescued from a storm. So just think. That's one of her phobias she's already overcome once. My final conclusion on Rabideuis is that she's absolutely one of my favourites. I use her an awful lot in my stories and my world building. She is just an adorable character in every way. She's got a sad backstory that gives her like extra sympathy, where she was being rejected because everyone was just going by the name Rabid Wolf, not realising it was rabid, meaning she had Rabideuis syndrome, not rabies. Misunderstanding there, and that rumour nearly destroyed her. Therefore, she does actually have PTSD, And that, yes, Tranquillians can get that quite easy, which is why it's important for Tranquillians to have the best loving care from their earliest age. So, with that said, that concludes the ASD file of Rabideuis. If you enjoyed this, I certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. Hit the like button and give me a sub. I would certainly be very appreciative of you, and I'll get the next episode to you as soon as I can do it. I've got the basic prompt script ready now, so I can basically go through the character quite easy now. There might be some that are slightly more difficult that maybe are off the top of my head. Don't forget, I myself could possibly be ADHD. It's not actually confirmed, but I've had, shall I say, a bit of a push to the fact that I could have that. Let me just say. So I'm not confirming it. I'm not saying I have it, but I'm definitely autistic. There's no doubt about that. And that's why all my creatures. Oh, by the way, Rabideuis is actually ADHD. Did forget to mention that. I maybe should have actually prompted that on my script so that I knew whether to talk about that or not. But most of the Tranquillians are actually declared with that now, because basically their brains never will completely develop because they're in 3.5 years at maximum, and some of them jam even younger. I'll let you know that. That's why you get all different ages, and whatever age you are as a Tranquillian, that's the age you are. Goodbye, my friends, and hope you enjoyed this.